Oh, wait, you guys are here for me again? Whoa. Thanks for tuning in. Well, as I said on the last one, I had a forge that we're going to be opening up, so I have this Simmond forge. I bought it off of Amazon. It was, I think, around 165 bucks when I bought it. It looked like it went up a little bit. Now it's around 200, but still a fairly good price forge. But we'll find out what we got here. It's a double burner, but we can crack on into it. And I'm excited because I haven't looked myself, so I was saving it for you all. So let's see what we got here. Okay, we're going to start off. Looks like we have an instruction manual. And then our favorite, styrofoam. So we got our refractory coating that we'll be mixing up, and then let's see, that might be the K-wall. Propane pieces, miscellaneous box. We'll find out what's in there in a second. Then I'm going to guess we got the actual forge. Well, there we have the forge itself. It does already have that K-wool in there, so thankfully we're outside and there's plenty of fresh air and a breeze, because all those little fibers off of there, you don't want to be breathing them from what I hear. It's a decent looking forge there. Find out what we get on here. Okay, looks like our burners and our propane hose here. It's always great when your packaging has some loose screws laying around in there, so you got to figure out what to go to. We'll grab that later. And here we got some fire bricks, it looks like. Fire bricks for the inside after you get it all set up, so you got something solid to sit on, looks like. Okay, then we got our regulator. Okay, so that's just a basic unboxing here, and we'll get to getting the rest of it set up here. Okay, so I took a gander through that instruction manual, learned the things I need to. I did actually look at it, don't worry. But we're gonna get the burner set up on top here. Little groove on there that I'm assuming is supposed to sit on there. Didn't really say in the instructions, but that is what makes sense to me. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do. Hey, well, welcome back. I cut out some of that in there because it was painstaking. So, the instructions weren't too clear, but they basically said to put this K-wool or this ceramic fiber blanket around here, and it barely fit in there. Tried wrapping it around, it didn't work too well, so I ended up kind of getting some wrapped around towards the bottom after I cut it down thinner and into a strip, and then after that I just kind of packed the edges with it. We'll just have to make sure that we seal that up with that refractory cement also on there. We're going to go ahead and finish getting these tightened down. We got them pretty well centered in there. And then after that, I got some rigidizer to stick on that ceramic fiber blanket on the inside. Basically, I heard it explained before that rigidizer protects the fiber blanket from you, and then that refractory cement protects you from that ceramic fiber blanket, just because that's not good stuff to be breathing, so that seals it all up so all those little fine molecules don't get in the air, don't get in your lungs more importantly. So I got this also off Amazon from the same company, from Simmons, and it said to dilute it 50-50, so I got it in a spray bottle here. It also said you could brush it, but I was thinking spraying it would be hopefully the easiest, and so I got that all set up in here, so we'll give her a go here. Of course, as I start, the wind picks up. And as from the name of the rigidizer, what it does is it makes it more rigid, gives it some firmness to it. So we got everything in there pretty well coated. So that takes 24 hours to cure on there, so I'm going to have to let that sit for 24 hours, and then after that we'll come back and put that refractory cement in there and get all that sealed up. And then after that we'll probably end up getting all that hose situated. Still want to be able to move it around pretty easily, that way without that hose getting in the way on there. Alrighty y'all, so it ended up being about a day and a half since I put on that rigidizer on there. When I was getting ready to film yesterday, it still seemed a little bit damp on there, so I left it for a little bit longer and ended up doing some more research on it. So it turns out to help that cure time, you can just use heat on there also. So I'll make sure that we get it all dried out. So I'm going to finish hooking up this hose, and then we'll put some heat on it to make sure that we get it dried out, because essentially all it's doing is evaporating the water in there. So we'll get this hose hooked up and get some heat on there so that way we can get it all dried out, and that way we'll be all set for a good refractory coatings on there when we get to that. So we'll finish getting this set up and get her fired up for the first time. That's one of the other things that attracted me to this forge in particular out of the ones I was looking for. So it has the internal threads for your propane tank. So it's the same as what would be on a 100-pound tank on there. So that made it a little bit of a nicer hose that came with it for me. So that's part of the reason why I chose this one. Okay, so a lot of this portion of it I think is just going to be trial and error, figuring out how much air to let in up here. So just to start her off, we're going to open her up about that much and see how she does. A little bit red in there. I don't think I have gas and air settings quite right on there, but that should be plenty enough heat on there to finish drying out that rigidizer. I'll probably let her run for a little bit longer, but that's how she's looking so far. Alrighty, so we can let her get heated up there for a little bit. Hopefully it took out the rest of that moisture from that rigidizer in there so that it could set properly. We're going to end up letting it cool down, and then we'll end up putting that refractory coating on there. But I can give you all just a quick look over on it because I really haven't done that yet. So, as you can tell, some of this paint on here kind of burned off a little bit as we were heating up. Not too surprised at that. There was some small surface rust on some of this that came in straight out of the packaging, but nothing that's terrible or it's going to affect anything. That hose is a pretty decent sized length. Came with this regulator on there. It was pretty well all set up. I had to add this fitting on there, which I did off camera, but from using it there it seemed to work fine. Then again, I can't say that I know a ton about regulators, but it works for its purpose for me so far. And I'm sure I'll learn how to get it set up a little bit better and getting the airflows right on there, because I'm sure that I didn't have it quite perfect on there, but it worked for the purpose of drying it out. Once it gets cooled down, I'll probably end up being another day that I have to come out and do it, but we'll put on that refractory coating on there and maybe even get those doors set up on it. But we'll see what we get to on there. But anyway, I appreciate you tuning in. And again, thanks for your time. I did get more views than I expected on the last video, so that is pretty cool. Even a couple followers. So if you are subscribers, I guess I should say, try and figure out this YouTube stuff. But if you were one of those subscribers, hey, thank you. I appreciate it. And if you like this video, taking a look at this forge so far. I'd appreciate it if you gave it a like or subscribe to the channel. I think those are the YouTube things I'm supposed to say. But hey, I appreciate it. Have a good one.